to the Bulls Guys podcast. I'm the host KDub Kenyatta Wright, and here's my co-host, Mr. Kataka of Chicago, Illinois.
What's up, Bulls fans?
Windy City, win tonight. The Bulls beat my hometown team of Brooklynnets. Man, a lot of talk with the Nets. Good, bad, off the court, on the court. They lose to the Bulls tonight. The Bulls get a much-needed victory after dropping a couple losses. We're going to get right into it right after this. The Bulls Guys podcast can now be heard on YouTube. Get all your latest news, debates, rants right here on the Bulls Guys podcast. All right, we're back on the Bulls Guys podcast. So Kataka, man, a much needed win by the Bulls. And in the fashion that they won this game, coming back from behind, the Bulls fought by as many as 10 points down. And in that fourth quarter, Zachlavine caught fire, hitting 5 of 11 threes, 3 or 4 of them down the stretch in that fourth quarter to give the Bulls as many as a 9-point lead. Then we have Vooch, posting up, getting some key layups in the paint. And Ayo hitting some big threes, getting some key steals in the open court. And, the Bulls were just making every big play, every big defensive stop that they couldn't make early on. Kevin Durant was killing us. He had a big night. A bad night for Kyrie Irving. He only had 2 points tonight. But, the Bulls doubling KD, and KD was still able to have a big game tonight.
Yeah, man, KD, man. I was watching this game. I was like, okay, KD got it going on, but we gonna figure out a game plan to stop him, because it's like the good thing is that Kyrie was off. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, we better not lose to KD and a bunch of no names. But they figured it out. Start double teaming him as soon as he started driving, and right before he's shooting, so him forces him to give the ball up to somebody. And luckily that they got cold as far as their threes. So I think that was the key thing to the game, is the fact that they game plan, they did their adjustments, started doubling up KD, so that way he can get the ball up.
Well, you take a look at Zach in this game, man. He was pacing himself. He was driving all over the floor and picking his spots and pulling up and hitting jumpers. He even hit some mid-range ones. And I was killing Zach in that Sixer game, because down the stretch, Embiid and Harden were coming through for the Sixers, but when it came for Zach to hit some big shots for us, he was missing. So I don't know, man, if he be reading what I write online, but I was killing him, Kataka, because I said, man, listen, you getting $200 million. If I need you to hit some big shots, dude, you gotta hit them. And he come out this next game and hit all these shots, man. And he's showing fire and screaming and yelling all over the court. I'm like, man, he must have read something he ain't like. But listen, he's supposed to do this every night, not just when people talk about him. This is what he get paid the big bucks to do. And tonight, Zachlavine showed why he is worth $200 million against the Nets team that's struggling, have a lot of distractions right now. They fired their coach, Steve Nash, at the beginning of the day, which was news to me. I found out early this afternoon. And then they have this anti-Semitic thing with Kyrie Irving going on online, which we're going to touch base on later. But I mean, the Bulls struggled in the past 2 games against the Philadelphia 76ers and the San Antonio Spurs. And I mean, most of it could be contributed to referees officiating. We've been talking about that, Kataka, on the phone, about how the officiating has not been consistent. We see how the Bulls lost that game against Washington due to the blown call at the end with DeRozan getting fouled at the top of the key. And then we've seen, the inconsistencies in the other losses to the Sixers and the San Antonio Spurs. So the Chicago Bulls, to get a win like this in Brooklyn, even though it's against a struggling Brooklyn team that has lost, they lost 4 out of their last 5 games.
Yep.
Man, I think this is a booster. So the Bulls are at 500 at 4-4. Kataka, what's your take on? Yeah, what's your take on this win?
I think this was definitely a much needed win, man, because if you notice back to back so far this season, I think we were like 0-4 or something like that coming into going into the season. So this definitely was a must win. Key thing is we got to build upon this because Zach is going to sit out tomorrow. I don't know if Drummond's going to be back. I don't know how long he's out
against the Hornets.
Against the Hornets, and we definitely going to need him. And I don't know if I'm glad to see Ayo was back in. You know what I'm saying? So it seemed like everybody's pretty much going to be playing. So we got to build on this, man. So this is definitely a must and key win for us.
And that Charlotte game, I ain't gonna lie. I think out of these two games, between this one and the Charlotte one, I think this was the one I wanted. I really wanted this one. Charlotte might be a trap game, though. Charlotte might be one of those teams we think we're gonna win, and they come out. Listen, LaMelo Ball ain't no joke, so that ain't gonna be no easy win. But out of these two games, I wanted this one. I felt like in Brooklyn to prove this, you know what I mean? And the last time we played Brooklyn, they basically took us in the woodshed and gave us a shellacking, man. So
sure the hell did.
I really wanted to come in here and get them back, for the way they beat us. No James Harden on this team. Different Nets team this time around, but it's still the same logo and the same franchise.
Right, exactly, and I don't want us to get into that trap that we beating the good teams, but we losing against the sucky teams. That seemed to be what the case so far. You know what I'm saying? And then the Hornets, they 3-4, so they're gonna come in with something to prove. You know what I'm saying? So we just gotta keep the ball rolling. We can't be losing any more games, man. Like we've been losing.
I mean, but in all fairness, we lost the Sixers game, but Andre Drummond not being in that game and Ayo not being in that game was key. I felt like we really needed both of them in that game, especially against Embiid. But Vooch held his own against Embiid. But I felt like if we had Drummond in that game, it would have been a difference. Having Ayo and forcing Maxey to guard Ayo on the open court, that would have made it a little difficult. Even my friend that's a Sixers fan, he said he watched the game. He said the Sixers got away with a lot in the fourth quarter. James Harden was jumping into people and getting the benefit of the whistle. I'm like, dude, he just dropped the ball. Like, nobody fouled him. Like, what are you calling? Like, I'm like, you going to make up calls like that? So it's like, listen, it was a lot of reasons why we lost that game. Zach, like I said, not hitting those big shots. But another story is this thing with Zach in and out of the line. Like, a lot of Bulls fans have been giving me feedback saying it's messing up the chemistry. It's not good for the team. I don't think that. I think the Bulls can win, pick their spots here and there. A lot of teams have been doing around the league. A lot of stars been doing around the league, Kataka, where they pick which games they want to sit out, especially when you have an injury like Zach had coming off of a surgery in the offseason. You have to pick what games you're going to play and which ones you're not in this situation. And it's still early in the season, so I was upset at first, but it makes a lot of sense, man. And then going up against the Charlotte Hornets, I think we could beat them without.
Dude, I'm with you because I was the same way early on. I was like, damn, when I heard about this whole knee management thing, and I was like, okay, here we go with the whole Derrick Rose general soreness thing. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, okay, maybe this may work, but it's all mental. So as long as these cats can the games that Zach is not in, they need to at least stay competitive. They don't lose. At least make it competitive. Don't get blown out by 20 or 30 points like they did that Cleveland game. Yeah. But you're right. I was the same way. I was pissed off about the shit, but I was like, okay, maybe this may work. But I'm glad that Zach picked this game after learning that, he played it was the Philly game he set out.
Right.
Where he should have been playing. You know what I'm saying? We were really needing him. So maybe he learned from that, okay, let me pick complete opposite and play the most important game with a high-profile team versus a shitty team like that. So we'll see.
Yeah, man. And I ain't gonna talk. I'm gonna just say this. I'm getting a little sick of losing to the Sixers.
I know you got a thing for Philly.
I am, and I'm getting a little sick of them celebrating every time they beat us. Like, I really want to beat the hell out of that team. We got 3 more games against them. The Bulls better beat them this year, at least once or twice.
I just can't stand Embiid, dude. I think he's like the court jester of the league, man. He think he's a newer version of Shaq. You know, he can crack jokes and do whatever. You know what I'm saying? I think he's just hot garbage.
Well, if he was
Dude just.
playing against Drummond, he wouldn't have been doing that. I don't think.
Oh hell no, I don't think so either.
I mean, it's easy to push Vuce around, and it's easy to do what you're doing against a team that's struggling up front. Without their rim protector. I mean, that's why we brought Drummond in for this kind of matchup. So it was kind of funny to me that he gets hurt in this particular game that we needed him, because we still didn't get to show the difference that Drummond makes up against a team that's bigger than us like this. But it's okay. Like I said, we got 3 more games against them.
Right.
I don't think the Bulls are going to get swept by the Sixers this year. I just don't see it. They're a much better team. They got more potent weapons, and Dragic and Ayo more developed to force the issue. And then you got Drummond, doing with the damage that he does inside. At least we'll have a little bit of inside game. We didn't have that last year against Philly. Our inside game was non-existent last year against Philly. At least we'll have somebody that at least give us something inside.
Exactly. And what about Vooch, man? I mean, his rebounds is, man, been over at least on the average probably 12 rebounds a game. Because I know tonight he had 15 rebounds, even though he only had like 7 points. But hey, I take the rebounds over the points.
7 points for Vooch tonight. 2 assists, 15 rebounds, 20 points for DeMar DeRozan, 12 for Pete Will. Pete Will had a decent game.
Yeah, he did.
1 assist, 1 steal, 2 blocks. What did you say, Kataka?
5 for 10, even though he didn't shoot well from the 3, 0 for 3. But hey, 5 for 10, I'll take 12 points. I mean, he's climbing. He just got to stay consistent. 15
points for Goran Dragic, and Drummond was out with that left shoulder. Kevin Durant, 32 points in this game, 6 assists. He had the game high. Lavine had 29, right behind Kevin Durant. And Kyrie Irving, man, brutal, 4 points, man. But he was going through some off the court stuff. 7 assists, 6 rebounds for Kyrie, though. Those are solid numbers. But the anti-Semitic comments, we're gonna touch on that when we come right back after this break. The Bulls Guys podcast can now be heard and followed on all social media platforms. Follow us on YouTube, IG, Facebook, and Spotify. It's the Bulls Guys podcast. Follow us on all social media platforms. Show us your support. All right, we're back on the Bulls Guys podcast. And now, Kataka, this is the part of the show where I'm blunt and I'm going to give my opinion on something political that doesn't really have to do that much with sports. And this is something that the media is trying to make it about sports and trying to use sports to cover it up. But I don't know if you've been reading about it or know about it, but Kyrie Irving and had posted some anti-Semitic comments towards a movie that he watched with Alex Jones, discussing controversial topics about secret societies and New World Order. And this is something I've been studying for some years now. I read the book Propaganda, by Edward Bernays. I read the book Behold the Pale Horse by Bill Cooper. And I've been studying propaganda in the New World Order for the last 5 years. And secret societies do exist. And the thing that gets me is that people try to say that they don't exist, but how can you say that secret societies don't exist when we have lodges that share secrets and don't tell the public what they're doing inside these lodges? How can you say that when it's right in front of your face that we have secret societies? We have secret clubs. Skull and Bones is a secret club at Yale University. If you do your homework, you'll know that the things that Kyrie Irving is saying that Alex Jones is saying is true. Alex Jones snuck into Bohemian Grove, which is a known cult camping, where the highest people, the most richest people and powerful people in the world gather around a campfire and have a seance, a private seance that nobody else in the world can go to. There's secret things that are being done in our world that we do not know about. And for people to act like and just deem somebody crazy because they're mentioning it, we're in 2022. If you don't know about these things that's going on behind the scenes, you're just batshit crazy.
Right. I'm glad you brought that up because, and I might be sort of a prime example of that because I am a member of these so-called secret societies. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know if you're probably not aware of that, but I'm a Freemason.
Right.
Um, and I've been hearing a lot of stories when people find out that I'm a Freemason, how, we devil worshippers and we doing all this and all our ritualistic stuff and all that from what they believe in.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm like this. You're right. These secret societies do exist. I've heard of the skulls.
Skull and
Actually, that was
Bones.
there was a fraternity that actually tried to recruit me before I even went to U of I, and that's where a lot of our presidents actually come from.
Yeah, they picked their presidents from there. George
They
Bush went there.
exactly. So, but that stuff, their stuff is out there in the open as far as their rituals and stuff like that. So it's not a secret. Not all that stuff you can actually read from the internet. You know what I'm saying? So it's
Mm-hmm.
not a secret. But people, back to the Kyrie thing. He
The
just speaking this.
problem, before you go any further, Kataka, the problem
Yeah.
I have is not with secret societies and the
Oh, I know.
secrets. The problem I have is that we have this thing where this country, the media, the government,
Mm-hmm.
the people that control social media and that control these platforms like Twitter feel
Mm-hmm.
like they have the right to tell somebody that they can't speak their mind on things. That man is a
Yeah.
grown ass man. He can say what the hell he wants on his Twitter. Why
Right.
are you policing what he has to say?
That's true.
It's
That's
not going
true.
to change anything. It's not like what he says is going to change the way you're doing things. So let him speak what he got to say. It's a free country. You promote freedom and you promote the Constitution, freedom of speech, and then you do things like this and then silence this guy and threaten him with punishment. I just tried
Mm-hmm.
to do a podcast and put his recording on my podcast, and Anchor censored that recording. Like, why
The
are you
crazy.
censoring people?
It's the Illuminati that's affiliated with that because I get stuff on Instagram from the Illuminati all the time. And,
Mm-hmm.
of course, they're able to promote their stuff because that's like the highest of the high when it comes to all the secret societies. So I
Mm-hmm.
think it has something to do with Illuminati. This is me personally speaking.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? That has that control over that stuff because there ain't nobody gonna shut them down. But you're
Mm-hmm.
right. I have a problem with people being censored. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, it's that man's free will and accord to mention that stuff. But the fact that they don't want a black person to share the truth.
Mm-hmm.
They know we're the reasons for why this world exists. We're the creators of this whole world, and
Mm-hmm.
they don't want the truth to get out. That's the reason why they censor. And they know the fact that a lot of kids and a lot of people going to believe what we say because we're high profile black people, black athletes. You know what I'm saying? So
Mm-hmm.
if it was Tom Brady saying this shit, they're not gonna listen to him. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? They're listening, but they won't listen to him. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But if somebody black, oh, we got to prevent him from sharing the truth. You know what I'm saying? That's where the whole race thing comes in.
The thing is, man, and I hate to do this to Bulls fans because we talked about the game and we talked about the results. And we all love sports, man. But there's this thing behind sports, And I feel like the reason why they created sports, and then when I say we, I mean the elites. They wanted people distracted. They don't
Mm-hmm.
want people learning about history. They don't
Right,
want people reading books. They don't want people tapping into who they really are and their history. They
right,
want you to be filled with entertainment. And the
right.
moment that you start getting smart and start really tapping into stuff and not really just sitting around just watching football and all of this, they get nervous. But my
Mm-hmm.
thing is like, why are you nervous? First of all, this land belongs to everyone. The people add to this land. The
Mm-hmm.
owners of these buildings and the owners of these businesses didn't build their own businesses and their own buildings. The people built them. So this country is really for the people. You know what I mean? So
Right.
we can share. Why does it always have to be everybody on top of these people? Why can't it just be shared amongst everyone? So that's another problem I have with our society is that the people that are on top want everything for themselves. They want fairness only for themselves. They want, riches only for themselves. And that's
Mm-hmm.
where I have a problem with that because when you have somebody that slips through the cracks, like how I'm trying to build my own security business, I know people that right now in the city of Philadelphia don't have their PI license, but they're Masons, so they're allowed to start their security business. But I can't start my security business because I don't have a PI and because I'm not in a lodge. But if I was in a lodge, they wouldn't even care about that. So things like that is like where they're picking and choosing who gets to have their business or not. Like, you don't get to decide that for me.
Right.
I don't want to work for nobody, and just because I'm not in a lodge, you're going to force me to work for other people and not have my own business. So it's just a lot of things that they do that I don't agree with. You're allowed to do you, have your own belief, have your secrets, have your lodges, but you don't get to impede on my life and tell me what my freedom and what I'm going to be able to do.
Right. And the crazy part is, KDub, is that even in the Freemasons, there's still separatism. Because you have white Freemasons that won't even acknowledge a black Freemason.
Yes, I know all about that. Yep. Racism within it. Yep.
Racism within it. And I've had, and the crazy part is Freemasonry. I mean, and I have a problem with, that's one thing I have a problem, because you have your Prince Hall and then your 4-letter, 3-letter, that's a whole different story. But the crazy part is all that stuff stems from the start of civilization in Egypt, in the Middle East. You know what I'm saying? But I have a problem with these white Freemasons still trying to make it a race thing, you know what I'm saying? And still try to hold back the truth when they know the truth is plain and simple, that hey, black folks are the start of civilization. But to your story, I mean, you have a legit reason. I assume there's probably some white Freemasons is probably doing this, because I don't think a black Freemason would even think about doing no crap like that.
It's white, and the courts is basically supporting it, and basically
exactly.
the DA. Like, I dropped a piece of paper and I got a citation in a small county, and they're trying to pull that citation ticket to say I shouldn't get my license because I was dishonest about it. You asked me on the application, was I ever arrested for a felony or misdemeanor? You didn't ask me, did I have a citation, which is nothing. But at the end of the day, man, this whole thing with Kyrie, man, the guy deserves to have his own opinion. The media needs to leave him alone. You can't expect every athlete to be a puppet. It's 2022. We just have Black Lives Matter and a lot of stuff with George Floyd. And that's how they started giving blacks more freedom and stop arresting them and pull them over. So we're heading in the right direction. But you need to make that giant leap and start just letting people be what they want to be. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I feel like Kyrie is a hero. Kyrie's a hero. And everything that Alex Jones talked about in that movie that he talked about, because he went in detail and said, about vaccines and how vaccines is meant to, keep us enslaved and everything like that. And it is. Because when it came out, the pandemic, what the first thing they did, they had people locked in their homes. They had people lose their jobs. They had people they got people working from home right now because of the pandemic. So people can't even really go outside and live a normal life. People are still doing that. People are still wearing masks, scared of other people. So they kind of crippled our civilization, as far as the society and in the US. So to say that, he's crazy. How is he crazy when we just seen what the hell he's saying? Alex Jones said, we just seen it in the last 2 years during the pandemic.
Yeah.
How is it a lie when we just seen it? We just lived it.
Yeah,
and people still don't open their eyes. They think all this stuff is normal and supposed to happen. Oh, viruses are just spreaded. No, it's not.
No, they created this mess, man. I have an aunt that's a nurse, man, for 30 years, and she said, yeah, this is something that they created. That shit got out of hand. You know what I'm saying? And now they can't control it, because now it's spread like weeds. Shit started over. They got over in China, and ironically, they had another virus starting over in India, and the poor countries in India, and also in Africa. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, go figure. It's a way. It's a I think it's a population control that got out of hand.
Yeah, because they want to, they saying that there's not enough food and all of this, and that they want to control how much people is in the world and all of this. You know how many people done lost their lives because of this virus? Some of my family members died because of this virus. So, I take it really seriously. And then you have people saying, oh, well, conspiracy theorist, conspiracy nut. Man, the entire United States is a damn conspiracy.
Pretty much, and we've been a conspiracy.
The whole United States and the way it was built is a damn conspiracy and a lie. You know, first of all, we were bought from Great Britain, if I stand correct, Kataka, wasn't we? And
Yep,
that's how we became the New World Order. We became the New America because we were owned by Great Britain.
yep.
7 Freemasons signed the Constitution for people to be free and have rights. And then slowly, every other 10 years, the United States slowly breaks down the Bill of Rights to slowly take the rights from the people, slowly contradicting themselves that, oh, we gave them these rights, now we're going to take them back.
Yep.
So,
yep. The crazy thing is, man, is that they mentioned that even the Civil Rights Act could be easily be changed again because I think it was only meant to last so many years. You know what I'm saying? So that would be a huge issue if they was to overturn that. Then we'd really be up shit's creek. We're talking about definitely a civil war all over again. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I mean, you're right. I mean, it's crazy how even though we can have all the black presidents and the black vice presidents, but they still trying to keep us from sharing the truth. You know what I'm saying? They still trying to have that glass ceiling over us from actually, being not having to have and have nots, but having what we're supposed to have, our 40 acres and mule and then some. You know what I'm saying?
Here's the thing. I sat here for the last year or so and heard the media and the papers say every bad thing they could about Kyrie. He ain't demonized y'all. He didn't say y'all didn't have the right to have a voice. He ain't trying to silence y'all. He didn't come out and speak bad against y'all, really.
Right.
But this man is just revealing the truth, and you trying to silence him and demonize him.
Because they know the public gonna eat that shit up. You know what I'm saying? They know he's a strong voice. He's outspoken. And they don't like when we as black folks know the truth and be that mouthpiece. You know what I'm saying? Because they know we have so many followers. So yeah, they trying to shut that shit down. Yeah, Kyrie didn't even look himself at all. I was looking at his mannerism. You know what I'm saying? And they trying to portray him as, oh, this is Kyrie here, he a nut. You know what I'm saying? But deep down inside, like you say, he telling the truth.
Yeah. And then I've seen like a quote from Charles Barkley on one of these internet sites saying Kyrie should have been suspended. And I wanted to click on that interview, but I'm like, man, I ain't even gonna go through that. Barkley's another coon.
Yeah.
He's a coon. He's a sellout. You know what I mean? Most of these guys that are on TV that's, they're coons, man. And I hate to use that word on my podcast, but I mean, it needs to be said because the thing is, sports is fun. I get it. Our Bulls fans, they like sports,
Right.
They love basketball. They don't want to hear this part, the controversial side of everything. But
right.
The truth is, man, there's a reality and there's a television.
Right.
Television, sports, all this stuff, it detaches you from the real world and what we really need to be paying attention to.
Exactly.
Stuff that we supposed to be paying attention to is supposed to come first, and then sports is second.
Right.
It's an illusion. You're not in the NBA. You're watching other people that are.
Exactly.
So I just pray that, people just stop demonizing this man, actually do their research, actually read up on the things that he's talking about and check it out for themselves before they start judging someone because they don't even have no damn idea what he's talking about and everybody's judging him. Yeah, don't say nothing about the Jews. Right. Why shouldn't you? The Jews probably talk bad about us. They probably say stuff about us, and they have an opinion just like we got one.
And they do have their own opinion about black folks. So then that's another story.
Yeah. So I think the biggest thing we've done, and this is the last point I'm gonna touch on before we go back to the Bulls, is that the number one thing that we've done wrong as a country and probably as a race of black people, African Americans, we put too much faith in the dollar. And because the Jews have all the money, we're afraid to say anything to the Jews because they're gonna take away our money. They're punishing Kanye right now.
Yep.
Oh, he should lose his sneaker deals and all of this because he spoke out. There's a punishment for me to speak my mind?
Yeah.
So I'm a slave. What happened to the land of the free and the Constitution in the United States? Same thing they did to Kaepernick when he didn't stand for the flag and he knelt.
Right.
So all this freedom that you're talking about, oh, I'm only free to do what you want me to do. I'm not really free.
Right. You're still enslaved.
Right. So there's a penalty. So if there's a penalty, I'm not free. So I should be able to say what I want and there's no penalty. So, right. We got to really, really, really pay attention to what's going on and stop just looking just to be entertained. That's the last words I got on this guitar.
Great point.
But yeah, going back to the Bulls now, I'm sorry, fans, we had to touch on that, but that was a really important subject, and I really wanted to touch on that because this Kyrie thing has been bothering me, man, because, for them to demonize this man and to watch the reporters, paint the narrative and paint him in the corner in a bad light, I didn't like that. But back to the Bulls, going on to this Hornets game, man. I didn't. The fact that we won tonight, I was happy that we won, Kataka, just to stop the bleeding. But I still was kind of bothered that the way we struggled in the last two games, and not just the way we not just struggling, but the way we lost those two games.
I think, to me, what hurt us the past two games, and I'm glad that they sort of worked on it on this game, but not fully, is the 3-point defense.
And the turnovers, too.
And the turnovers, exactly.
They had a lot of stupid ones in this game, too.
Yeah, they had a lot. Let me look, see if I can see some stats. But yeah, 3-point was really killing us because it seemed like no matter what San Antonio was doing, shooting, whoever and wherever, these shots was going in, and it was just crazy. I see Brooklyn was they was 37.5% from the three. 40. I think if they would have tried to shut that shit down a little bit, the score would have been much bigger.
Let's get into some team stats. The Bulls shot 43% from the field. The Nets shot 48% from the field. 36 for 75 from the field for the Nets. 39 for 89 for the Bulls. From three-point land, the Bulls shot 12 for 30 from three. The Nets shot 12 for 32. It was pretty close, both teams. Bulls shot 40% from three. The Nets shot 37% from three. The Bulls shot 18 for 21 from the free throw line, and the Nets shot 15 for 19. So we're getting some respect. We're getting some free throws up in there.
About damn time.
The Bulls had 45 rebounds to the Nets 38. Team assists, the Bulls had 20. The Nets had more team assists at 27. They were moving that ball around Kataka and hitting them threes, forcing the Bulls to double. That was killing us first half. And they had 9 3-point shots in the first half. 7 steals for the Bulls, 4 for the Nets. Turnovers, the Nets had 17, the Bulls had 10. Maybe that could be the difference, Kataka, and how the Bulls pulled away at the end. The Bulls had 15 fast break points to 7 for the Nets. Points in the paint, the Nets had 44. The Bulls had 32.
Yeah, they was pushing that ball, man. And that's why I was pissed off at that damn Billy Donovan turnover. Billy off timeout. Because they was about to run them. They was on a 3-on-2. And I think Ayo had the ball. And freaking Billy Donovan called a timeout. One of the guys on Bulls, I was like, it don't matter. We about to win this game. Like, dude, you don't understand.
You broke the momentum. Yep.
You broke the momentum because I think Zach was hot. You know what I'm saying? And this dude calling a timeout. It was an ill-advised timeout. You didn't have to call that shit. So yeah, we was pushing that damn ball.
The Bulls got this win tonight. They got this win tonight. It was much needed. I'm waiting to see how they do against Charlotte, but you can see as the games go along, Billy Donovan is starting to adjust and make those adjustments. I think he's being a little bit too abrasive on adjustments because that timeout today, like you said, it didn't make any sense. But at least he's paying attention. At least he's being proactive on, calling timeout and trying to correct things. But good win for the Bulls tonight, 108-99 as they defeat the Brooklynnets. And when we come back, we're going to wrap up the show right after this. The Bulls Guys podcast can now be heard on YouTube. Get all your latest news, debates, rants right here on the Bulls Guys Podcast. All right, back on the Bulls Guys Podcast. Now, Kataka, you have a social media on Instagram. Will you mind sharing that with my listeners?
Yes, sir. My personal one is Kataka Graham. Also from my band, Together Melange, in which we actually have a performance booked this upcoming on actually in January the 4th. So I'll be having more details for that.
Cool. And you guys can follow us on Twitter at Talking Bulls 82. You also follow us on Facebook on the Talking Bulls, on the Bulls Guys Facebook page. And you can also send us an email at talkingbulls82@gmail.com. And we're also on Spotify and YouTube as well as Anchor. Thanks for joining us tonight, Bulls fans. The Bulls win tonight 108-99. The next game is against the Charlotte Hornets. Until next time, go Bulls.
Go Bulls.